Only the strong will survive, and that's why I have Matt Orfalea on right now, because we're in newborn nuclear mode. There is a newborn under my desk. I'm rocking him with my feet. But if there's anything that will soothe a newborn, it's a Matt Orfalea video. It just doesn't seem to soothe Twitter or YouTube or the big tech folks. Once again, Matt's content has been censored, but this time sort of indirectly. So, Matt, why don't you sort of explain to us what happened to your video, and then what happened to Matt Taibbi and Scott Horton for discussing your video?
So I did a mashup of the Democrats talking about, complaining about the illegitimate 2016 election. Now, the YouTube rules are you're not allowed to question any past election results in the US. So it's like, wow, my room is dirty. Sorry, everyone. But all right, there's the ADD. But so I
forgot to warn you about full screen mode. It's also called mother of newborn mode, so I can deal with things under my desk while you're talking.
So basically, first, let me just say, everyone, imagine if Vladimir Putin had declared that it was illegal and you were not allowed to discuss the election integrity of any past elections. You couldn't question the integrity of any past elections. Just imagine Vladimir Putin's doing that. Like, that's totally tyrannical, authoritarian. Well, then guess what? That's not Vladimir Putin. That's YouTube. That's fucking YouTube. So, and that's crazy. Now, interestingly, we all know that this is a new policy after the 2020 election denial. And I'll just, be safe, try to save your channel, Allison, and say, look, I do not know of any widespread election fraud in the 2020 election, okay? I don't think people should be censored for questioning it. And I think people don't realize that it is a very normal thing. And it's happened, pretty much every goddamn election in history. People question the integrity of the election, okay?
I mean, that's kind of the point you're trying to make with your video, was to show, and why don't I just, why don't I bring up, I'll play it in the background while you're talking. That way we can be small screen and you don't have to show your room. So this is it. This was demonetized and then they remonetized it, right?
Okay, so this is a second one about it's called like 2016 rigged, or Dems versus Republicans, 2016 versus 2020 quote rigged elections, and just comparing Hillary Clinton and the Dems saying the 2016 election was rigged with Trump saying it in 2020. And that got demonetized, and then this other one got demonetized. This other one went pretty viral, actually, and luckily, because it went viral and it got a lot of coverage, YouTube eventually reversed the decision to demonetize it, because it was criticized heavily for demonetizing that, because studies have shown in the past that demonetizing suppresses videos' traffic and views. And it makes sense, right? YouTube's for profit. Like, why would they show somebody a video that's demonetized when they can show them one that's monetized? So anyway, what to say about this? Okay, now what happened?
Yeah, sorry, I just want to cut in just to make sure people understand. I mean,
yeah.
All you're doing is you don't really insert yourself into any of these videos. You just show what's already out there. It's just like, this is what they said. Matt's not making his own claims. Whenever he edits videos, he just puts the stuff that's out there. It's all open source. And so I think it's just important for people to understand that whenever your videos get censored in some way, it's just censoring legit history. It's not Matt doesn't do commentary, on his own. I mean, well, you do, but in a lot of when you edit these videos, you're just taking stuff that's out there and showing people what they may have forgotten or what may have been, hidden from view, and juxtaposing it so that it's very clear to people. Like you focus a lot on hypocrisy, I think, and you put stuff together so it's clear for people to be able to see that, which is why I just think it's even crazier when your stuff gets suppressed, because it's not like you're just going on these rants in these videos. They're what's out there, and in a lot of cases what's on YouTube. You and I have been suspended on my channel before for showing what was on the mainstream media channels related to COVID. Remember when that happened last year?
Same thing. Exactly. And it's the same thing. So we were not making any claims of our own, just like in this case, I'm not making any claims or advocate or supporting any claims of election fraud in 2016 or 2020. Nothing. I'm not making any original commentary, like you said. I'm just showing what happened and what was said by the media and the politicians then. And what it shows is, like, the Democrats, like the Republicans in 2020, they claimed the election was illegitimate.
Made claims. They made claims.
Yeah. Yes, they made claims. All right. So I gotta stop. I gotta stop saying da 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 da. Which,
well, we're gonna cut the YouTube stream so you guys can all hear what the portion of Scott Horton's podcast was discussing Matt's video that YouTube, removed the whole video for. We just can't play it on YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube, just like a heads up, probably in a few minutes, we're going to cut the YouTube stream and go on to the other platform so you can actually hear it. But yeah, like big picture, Matt. So yeah, they just showing they all make the same claims. They make the same claims on the Democrat side. They make the claims on Republican side, but there's only certain sides in certain elections that for whatever reason you can't talk about. That's the main point. And then that makes it worse. It's one thing like, oh, well, we're trying to save democracy. That's what they say. It's to keep people from undermining democracy, but by virtue of being flippant, I think, and arbitrary about who gets to say what, they're undermining. Really, they undermine trust in the Democratic Republic, whatever we are. We're a republic, I guess, but they undermine their own elections. By doing that, in my opinion, or at least people's trust in the process.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they literally all even through 2020. So from 2016 all through up to and during 2020 and still today, they were talking about how our election systems are not safe, they are not secure because of Russia. And what is that if not challenging or questioning the integrity of our elections? That's absolutely what that's doing. It's questioning.
Yeah, and you're right. And Hillary Clinton still talks about that stuff. So yeah. So okay. So then basically for the YouTube stream, Matt Taibbi, you worked with that video for Matt Taibbi, right? So then he goes on Scott Horton Show talking about it, and they're talking about what we just said, which I'm not sure. We'll see if we get taken off, but they talk about it, and YouTube just. You can't even talk about talking about it, apparently. That's what
it's insane.
So they removed the video from Scott's channel.
They deleted it and gave him a strike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is he suspended, or was that his first strike?
I don't know how many strikes, but he was still alive.
He's still on. Okay, must have been a warning then. Or did they reverse it?
He did. No, he did receive a strike. He did receive a strike. I do have a happy update. And I checked it just before joining in. And so it just happened very recently. So after, it was down for most of the week, 4 or 5 days. And then just this evening before hopping on, I checked it out. It is back up, thankfully. And why is that? There's no question. It's a result. It's thanks to, because Matt Taibbi has like, I don't know, 500,000 followers or something. And And it still took days. Like, I was really worried. Like, it might not come back. I mean, and it wasn't just that. I mean, Scott shared it. He has a decent audience. And, it was only when people started sharing it that we even got a response. And then they go, oh, yeah, well, we're going to have to look at it. They wouldn't say I don't think they have not acknowledged they did anything wrong, even though they obviously did. I don't know if Scott even got a notification or explanation or anything. I just messaged him, to tell him that I noticed it's finally back up, and I want to know if YouTube reached out to him. It doesn't look like they did, seeing the replies on Twitter. And I know in my experience, like, it's very rare to get an apology or anything like that. But and so what's so creepy about this is there's no fucking way. They had rejected his appeal. Okay, so there's no way a regular person would have gotten YouTube's attention to admit this mistake. No way. It wasn't looking good for us. And I mean, and these are two, really popular podcasters.
Right. Yeah, it's just, we talk about this all the time whenever we discuss this issue. It's just insane that Twitter is the answer to speech. Fighting these platforms by just waging mafia wars on Twitter. Like that's how now elections are discussed. How you can talk about public health crises, whatever it is. Like you have to, unless you can wage a war on Twitter, man, you don't necessarily have a voice in the town square anymore. That's insane. And because it really all that does is creates its own oligarchy. You know what I mean? It creates its own class of citizens who can fight back. So there's no, even when you're reinstated, there's no celebration in that, because it's like, well, the only reason that I got this was because not because the system's fair or works or anything. It's because I just was able to harness enough voices, but it's still because I have a special sort of class of following. Whereas you're right. Like the average person with 50 followers or something's not going to have a chance.
No chance. It's
and
bad.
I'll say this, somebody on Locals is saying the Russians are still in our election system, then fix the system, problem solved. But I wonder if they like the system they complain about, because they like people being confused and in uproar and divided, and what, because it's like, what? Yeah, because okay, so if you could fix this, why don't you? Well, maybe you like it this way. What do you think about that, Matt?
Well, it depends on what do you mean by system? Like obviously both parties benefit from the two-party system, and they both work together to fuck over third parties and keep them out of debates and our elections. But as far as let's see. Sorry,
I guess
ADHD was
they like it. They seem to like confusion and chaos.
Oh yeah.
But then they say like we got to come in and fix it for you. You can't be confused and chaotic as a populace, but we do it. Like we get you that way. We, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And so you asked like, do they like the system broken? Now, as far as like one thing I thought of when you were asking that is, like the election system, how they complain about our election system. Well, even if we had a perfect election system, they're going both sides, like, Republicans, Democrats, they like having that excuse, Stacey Abrams, Donald Trump. It's the same, a politician loses. These are some of the most narcissistic people on earth, and they're going to, blame it on something else. It's always going to blame it on something else. Now, obviously election fraud is a real thing, but they absolutely like having, something to blame or deflect, it's just like politics 101, unfortunately.
Okay. I want to play the clip, but first, don't forget, something that, I don't know, doesn't help you necessarily vote better, but is fun. It's fun anyway, is to go to AllisonWinePromo.com and get some amazing Malbecs. Okay, so the weather's changing, Matt. It's cool outside. You're wearing a sweatshirt. I'm wearing a sweatshirt. Malbecs are great with fall like stews, fall squash, whatever you're ripping out of your garden right now. I can assure you it goes very well with the high altitude Malbec from Argentina. You get 50% off the wine and 50% off shipping, and it's a great way to support my work. If you already are a wine drinker and you like robust wines, Malbecs are, I think, they're the poor man's version of a Pinot Noir. So join me in the People's Pinot Noir, which is a Malbec, and go support my work at AllisonWinePromo.com. The other producer, not the newborn producer, but the executive producer, just drew this for you. It may seem illegible, but what it says is go to AllisonWinePromo.com. Okay. Also, if you're a coffee drinker, you can go to twinenginecoffee.com/Allison. This also says that as well. You get 10% off your first order. These are organic coffees and also high altitude. There's light roast, there's dark roast. There is a limited black edition, which is very good. It's a dark roast. It's not acidic. It's like it's got a very smooth flavor to it if you don't like acidic coffees. Also, there's tea. Katura tea. It's tea you make from the fruit that goes around the coffee bean. So twinninjacoffee.com/Allison, AllisonWinePromo.com, and we'll see you over there. Okay, so Matt, I want to play it, but I don't want to play it on YouTube. So it sucks, but I'm even nervous because even if it got reinstated on Scott's channel, I don't want to deal with, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know.
I don't want to deal with them coming after me and then having to go back on this. So we're gonna play this we're live on ROKFIN and Rumble. We'll hopefully see you guys over.